what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. Now, many of us think about a whole heap of careers, from working in the typical 9 to 5 to the collar and tie. And then we have the creative pursuits that we don't often consider to be the career as a Monday to Friday breadwinner. Well, I've got a drummer for you. Welcome to Positive Profiles. I'm Kimberly Ski. And with me, I have none other than Melvin Alick.
Yes, please. Thank
Melvin.
you. Thank you for having me, man. It's a pleasure.
It's great to have you with us.
Thank you,
Now,
indeed.
I'm curious. The name Alick is quite unusual. Where does it come from?
Yes, I was actually born in Bermuda, but I've lived most of my life here, so I'm more Bajan than anything else.
Fantastic. Now, you've been a drummer for how many years?
Wow. Well, I started playing when I was small. Cognitively locking into it probably when I was 9, when I was playing at church, and then playing all through my teenage years, but made it my career and my profession from 2004.
Now, many people will say, including parents, that that is a vocation. When is it that you decided that this vocation would become your ultimate career?
Ultimately. I think as I got to the end of my teenage years, we were involved, some friends of mine were involved in a project called Instruments of Praise. We all grew up in church, met each other in church from different churches and stuff. And there was a synergy amongst us in terms of all enjoying music, being able to create music. And then there was a common theme where everybody was like, well, we don't exactly know how quite it's going to work, but we would like to do this as our jobs. We'd like to spend our most productive years of life making music. And I would say that's really where it started. As I came to the end of my years at UE, I was like, well, what do I really, really love doing? And I said, well, what comes naturally, what I love doing is making music. And like I said, didn't necessarily have a roadmap as to how exactly it would work. But I said, I want to give my most productive years to what I love doing. And I think at UE was really the starting point of where that really took shape and took place.
Were you one of those individuals that your area of study was completely different to the course that you followed?
Yes, I did. When I was at community college, the music program started, I think, in 2001. I had already left UE when the music program started. So when I was at community college, I did mass accounts and IT. And then I was always good with math. Math came naturally. And I went on to do maths and management at university. I graduated upper second class honors. I did well in it. But yeah, I wasn't formally trained in music, but I have a musical background in terms of my father was a musician. He was very instrumental in the development of Promise. And so I guess music has always been kind of flowing in our genetic pool. My brother's a very good musician as well too. So I guess that's really where it all came from.
Wow. Were there any naysayers when you started to or considered pursuing music as your career?
Well, just before I fully got into music, when I left UE, I did 2 years at Scotiabank. And as I said, always in my mind was, I'm not sure how I'm going to do it, but I'm working myself towards the music. And I remember one particular person that I used to deal with. He was a customer client at the bank and stuff. And maybe about 3-4 months before I made that final push, he said, "You really gonna go into music, man? You sure that you can support your family and make it happen and stuff?" I said, well, I have faith and trust in God that this is something that I've been putting to him for the last 6 months. I'm very passionate about it, and I'm gonna give it 110%. And I believe with God, all things are possible. And it's so funny because life comes full circle. Many years later, I saw him at an event I went, and he said, "My goodness, you really stuck with this music thing." I said, "Sir, if you're passionate about stuff and you give it your best and you're willing to work hard, any possibility can happen." So
those are very necessary ingredients.
Indeed.
Passion, willing to work hard,
yes,
giving it your all.
For sure.
Why do you keep at it? What gives you the passion?
The drive. I just love to see the emotional connection that people have. Music, to me, there's a theoretical side, but there's the emotional side. And I think the beauty of being able to understand the theoretical and how you learn the theoretical now to merge it with the emotional and with the connection. When I grew up, I was influenced by gospel music, R&B, lots of different kinds of music. And I remember the emotional connection I would have when I listen to something. Sometimes the hair on my hands would stand, and it was always very therapeutic and very soothing. When I studied, I had to have music on always. So there was a playing side of it, but there was always a therapeutic side. I just enjoyed what I heard, and I said I wanted to be a part of something that I can make music or do something that can make people have an emotional response and an emotional connection. And something over the years that I learned a lot from Arturo and Nicholas in particular, and working with them, is there is the playing side of music and there's the psychology of music. And to be able to learn how to marry those two things so that when you perform, people psychologically and emotionally are connected to what you've been able to build from a theoretical, technical perspective. Always try to mirror and balance those.
Wow. Now, you also tutor.
Yes, I do.
So tell me a little bit about how, because I could feel the passion here, how you pour into young minds who
Yes,
are
indeed.
developing in this musical arena.
It's interesting because I don't say as much now, but I used to say before, teaching was not my number one love. My number one love was the performing side, recording side of it. But I recognized over a period of time, I used to teach in Notes of Praise music school. I taught in Notes of Praise for, could be 14, 15 years. And then because my schedule was getting busy and stuff, I decided it was a little easier for me to teach from at home. So then I started to teach privately from at home, 2018, 2019. And I just found that I have a knack for being able to explain things in a simple way, because as I said, I wasn't taught. But over the years of experience of learning things, I found that I had a passion for, especially for persons who've never played, to be able to share and impart, and to see them walk into a room and think that they can't play, they have no rhythm. I've heard that statement 1,000 times. I have no rhythm, I can't keep a beat. I said, no, everybody has rhythm. You're just not aware that you have it. My job is to help you recognize that, help you unlock it, and give you the tools that when you hear something, you are confident that you can work it out. And I think my years of being able to having good teaching at Notes of Praise and then doing it at home allowed me to recognize that, not to take things for granted, because being a musician, I just assume, I do something and you can. I recognize it is not as simple and as easy, and things that may come easy and natural to me, for somebody else is hard. So it taught me the importance of being patient. I'm generally a very patient person. I've told folks, one of my sayings is, when you meet me, there are going to be 5 people you're going to remember in your life who are super patient. I'm going to be one of those 5.
Wow.
So teaching has taught me that as well, to how to be patient, how to be able to work with persons at their level, and it's about your personal best. We're not competing against anybody. You want to see that you came today, we started on something, you worked on it during the week, you came back next week, you got a little bit better, you got a little bit better, you got a little bit better, and to be able to play from just a fun hobby kind of way, or if you want to make it your career, that you've been able to see, well, hey, we've been able to work on things that have created the context for you to be able to pursue it as your career. So I've learned that it's a gift that I have. And the other flip side as well too is not just teaching drums and music, but we're talking about life. So a lot of the things that we learn are principles that you can apply to whether you're doing mass, whether you're doing stuff at school, and creating an environment at home where kids or parents, students, whatever, feel comfortable to come. They know that I'm gonna be very patient with them. I want them to give up their best. And as a result, word of mouth has just spread, so people just refer and stuff, and it's really caused me to step back and to be humble and to recognize that what I'm doing here has an impact on students, on their families, on their potential future if they want to pursue music as a career, and they see somebody here who's able to do music. I've been able to do it as my career for the last 20 years. I've been able to do well. I've been able to build my house, to take care of my family and what have you. So hopefully it gives a spark in them that if they want to pursue, and I always tell their parents, and I tell them, hey, if this is what you want to do, I am an example right here. I don't have any superpowers. I have normal blood flowing in my veins, just like you. If you want to pursue it, I want to give you as many tools as I can to help you follow that path.
Wow. Melvin, take me to the stage. Tell me about some of your performances. Michelle is one of them.
Yes. I've been working with Michelle since the beginning of 2015. So there's Michelle, which is, I always tell folks, different kinds of musical intensity. Before I got to him, it would have been, I was working with Arturo from I believe it was maybe like 2007, 2008. I'm still working with him now. Then eventually I started working with Nicholas in 2000. We had done one or two things individually over the years, but long-term wise, 2015, and I think those really created good contacts for me by the time I got to Marshall. So there's that. There's Spice and Company, which
Wow.
I would have never thought in my wildest dream that I would have had the opportunity to play with all of these persons. Because growing up, these are the guys you're watching
The
on TV.
stalwarts.
You're seeing their music videos. You know, listening to Turo's records, to Nicholas's stuff, to Spice. So to see that life has created opportunities that I can work with them and develop relationships with them musically, but even just as friends. You know, we all get along well and we have good relationships. So all of them have been different. Rupi, I started to tour with Rupi in, that would have been 2005. That was my first professional gig, and that's when he was at his apex. So even that I think really propelled me in terms of seeing where soca was going, and to see somebody from Barbados at that time having that kind of global appeal, and it helped me to understand what we do has an impact and can allow me to be able to see the world and to see other people embrace our culture and what we have to offer.
You've had a support system.
Yes, oh, definitely.
Tell me a
for
little
sure.
bit about that support system with
Yeah,
your wife,
with my
Lois.
Lois, yes,
Yes.
definitely. It's so ironic that we've been married for the amount of time that I've been doing music full time. I got married in 2004, and I started to do music in 2004. And I tell folks, it is an amazing experience to have some person to support you, to allow you to follow your dream. There's never been a day in my life that my wife has ever looked at me and said, I don't know if you should really do this music thing. Never. And I guess because when we got together, she saw the trajectory from the Instruments of Praise days, and she saw what he's really passionate about, and he's willing to work hard and give of his best. So she has been phenomenal. She supported me. She's been able to come on different trips that I've been able to go. She is the rock on which I stand. Very supportive, very understanding.
You, to me, are the epitome of what we call an all-inclusive, if I can use that phrase. When I think about persons projecting a positive image, a positive profile to the rest of the world, you exude that.
Thank you.
In your personal life,
Thank you.
in your profession, in your commitment, and also in your ability to let people see that this is real. So every day is not going to be on top of the mountain.
Of course not.
There's going to be
of
valleys.
Of course, definitely.
I really want to thank you for inspiring us and
Thank you for having me.
continuing to pay it forward.
Indeed, thank you very much. And I hope and pray that what has been shared today will encourage some folks. So whatever your dream is, music, the arts, doctor, lawyer, social media influencer, whatever it is, pursue what it is you love, give it your all. Every shot not taken is a shot missed. Take your shots because you don't know what potentially is available for you. So go for it, man.
Well said. You've been watching Positive Profiles. I'm Kimberly Sneed.